This completes the Zoom taxonomy. Now let's move into anticipate identity and learn how to use an anticipation guide with the poll feature in Zoom. So the poll feature lives in Zoom. Have you used the poll in Zoom before?
I have not used it, but I've been on the poll. Someone else was hosting and used the poll.
Yep. To create the poll, you have to create it in the meeting invitation. And it has to be in the web-based version of Zoom, not your desktop version. To set up the poll, if you have a pro account in Zoom, you do it through your scheduling. So schedule the meeting through zoom.us. Save the scheduled meeting, and then go to the very bottom of the screen and you will see poll and an add button. Hit that add button and type your poll questions and possible answers. For the anticipation guide, we type in the prompt, the question, and then the answers are either agree or disagree. Yep. So we hit the poll button.
Where is the poll button, by the way?
So if you go to your toolbar in Zoom.
Is that at the top?
Uh-huh. It should say mute, stop video, manage participants, and then poll. Analyze each statement with teammates, make connections with your identity, answer the poll, agree or disagree, and discuss why. First one, good drivers have no fear.
Okay, disagree.
Tell us more.
Again, just verbally?
Sure.
Okay. Good drivers recognize that they are in control of a life-threatening weapon, which is the automobile. Mm-hmm. And to not be afraid of what its potential impacts can be, not only on you and the passengers in your car, but others who are in the environment you're passing through, is one of the elements that would indicate that you're not really a comprehensive driver. You're not really a good driver.
Thank you. So I tell folks also there are no wrong answers, and these are not gotchas, right? We've eliminated the gotcha scenario from all of these pieces. People with natural gifts wish they had normal abilities.
Agree.
Tell us more.
I think people with natural gifts recognize how those gifts sometimes separate them from others, how they see the world potentially differently from others, and yet we have such a need for a sense of belonging to others. And so being able to also want to develop the normal abilities or to be seen as having normal abilities is something I think is naturally human.
Awesome. Practicing 5 hours a day after homework demonstrates initiative.
Disagree.
Tell us more.
Just replicating the demands of someone who's required you to do something is not necessarily a indication of, what was the word you used? It wasn't discipline, but what was
initiative?
Initiative. It's not necessarily an indication of initiative. I think initiative would be figuring out exactly how much homework is needed in order to have the learning consequences that you want to have. And if that's 2 hours or if that's 7 hours, that's more important than just honoring a template of practicing for 5 hours.
Awesome. Virtual car racing is not real racing.
Disagree.
Okay, tell us more.
Are we in a real situation right now? We're in a virtual space separated by thousands of miles. and yet we're having some of the same kinds of emotions and reactions that we would have if we were in person. So that this is, for me, the absolute understanding of the fact that the virtual is real, that rather than seeing a dichotomy between what's virtual and what's real, the virtual is a part of reality in the same way that face-to-face interactions are a part of reality. Even a phone call, it's a virtual experience, but we don't necessarily think that's not real. It's only after the digital platforms have emerged to higher levels of asynchronicity, higher levels of distance from each other, that some people may get the sense that there's a different reality going on, but in actuality, that's just as real as as face to face. We fall in love with characters on TV or in movies. Those emotions, are real. We make associations with NBA basketball players that we will, in fact, defend and almost die for if it's inflicted. So the consequences of our interactions in virtual spaces are real for our everyday lives.
My daddy would show jump on you for saying something about Dr. J. That's a guaranteed way to get cut in my house.
I would agree with him. I don't think we have a player yet that does what Dr. J was able to do.
Professional athletes build careers with family support.
Disagree. Professional athletes probably struggle more to build their to build family support because of their careers. And this is another place where the virtual will come in. I mean, I think one of the ways they may maintain family support is through virtual activities that they can have with their families, the Zoom calls, the FaceTime chats, the phone calls, etc. But the very nature of what it means to be a professional athlete, traveling all of the time, the intensity of the schedule, the adulation of the fans, puts that individual in a position that makes it even more difficult to have the same kind of contact hours and high quality engagements with family that are needed to build family support.
Thank you, sir. And the final one, neglect cultivates resentment.
Agree. I think that to a certain extent, we're all a bit narcissistic, and we want to have a sense of ourselves being responded to by others. I think that when we feel neglected, resentment is one of the emotions that we experience as a consequence of that neglect, but not the only one.
Thank you. And then our guiding question for this piece is, how might our self-identities blossom as a result of stay-at-home measures during COVID-19 closures?
I can use myself as an example, but I think it might apply to all people. How do we really know who we are in distinction to the other social networks that we're involved with? And so when those social networks are, in this case, artificially constrained by the requirements of the stay-at-home guidelines, it allows us to actually turn inward to come to terms with who we are personally as individuals. How do we make meaning in our time? How do we use our time? What interests do we have that are not tied to others? But where's the reflective pieces that allow us to go deeply within ourselves? We now have time to do that. It's a concept that I would push as being alone does not necessarily mean being lonely. How do you be alone with yourself and almost never have a sense of loneliness? And that's, I think, a consideration of being able to go deeply within yourself and find the things that you are oriented toward as an individual that give meaning to your life. And once you've had that opportunity to step back and out of the morass of things that you have to do on a daily basis, it surfaces the kinds of things that are much more important to you.
Mm.